Well, it's that time of the show again where we talk to Kim Anderson. And Kim, I've always wanted to ask, is there a show on the other side of the world where there's an interviewer asking a grain marketing specialist about the U.S. wheat crop and how they're hoping that it may fail?
I'm sure it's not as good as SunUp is, but I would suspect that there are marketing analysts and people around the globe that are wanting crops to fail somewhere else besides their location. Because for prices to go up, someone has to lose a crop, or several, quote, countries have to lose a crop, and you always want it to be somebody else rather than you. So yes, they do. And we do need a crop to fail so that we can get higher prices, and producers around the world will benefit from it because right now prices are below the cost of production for most areas.
Okay, that leads me into the next question. Is there that country that's going to fail a wheat crop?
Well, right now we don't see that. You look at the news over the last couple of weeks, Russia record grain crop, Russia wheat production up, Ukraine 20% less planted acres we were talking about last fall. What are we talking about now? Perfect weather, great yields, big crop for Ukraine. Just came out this week, Australia's crop's looking really good. The news around the world is for better crops than we expected a month or two ago.
Where's that inconsistency in the numbers? Because, you know, earlier you were saying countries had this much planted acres and now all of a sudden there's more.
Well, the planted acres are there. It's just weather. You know, we can talk about policy, we can talk about other inputs and stuff, but weather determines production, and and production determines price. So the inconsistency is most of the time, it's been my observation that good crops we tend to overestimate them, and poor crops we tend to underestimate. So I think hopefully the salvation is this big 26.7 billion bushel crop, which I think WASDE will increase when this June report comes out this next week. I think it's probably going to be less than we expect right now because we have a tendency to overestimate. But the weather is the one to determine whether we're right or wrong.
Okay, so all that's great, but what does that mean for the Oklahoma wheat producer when it comes to price?
Well, right now I think the good news, because the last couple of weeks and really the last month or so, all the news has been good for production, both in the United States and around the world. Our price has held relatively steady. I think we've found the floor. I can't see, you know, prices could drop. If we get harvest pressure, real big harvest pressure in, we could drop 50 cents off this price. I don't think we will. I think we could lose 10 or 20 cents, something like that. But the market's telling me right now that prices are going to go slightly higher. Not much. I think we're going to stay in this sideways pattern, but I think we're looking at, as we get out into the September, October, November time period, slightly higher prices.
So all of that, does the world need the wheat now, or do they need it later down the road?
Well, the market's telling us they need it down the road, because you look at that KC July contract, you look at the KC December contract, that December contract is 40 cents higher than the July contract. The market's telling us, I don't want it now, I want it later down the road, December, March, May, July of next year even. They're saying, I don't want it now, and I'm willing to pay the market to store that wheat, or I'm willing to pay you and show you a higher price down the road, that higher price, so that you will store the wheat rather than selling it now.
Okay, thank you much, Kim, grain marketing specialist here at Oklahoma State University. And that does it for this week on SunUp. If there's something that you saw on the show that you'd like to learn more about, visit our website, sunup.okstate.edu. Otherwise, we'll see you next week at SunUp.